Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all, yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all-blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself in two different categories, namely integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattva are the worshipful objects of service. All demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead, and they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattvas or the plenary portions of Narayan, the personality of Godhead, in the same categories with the parts and parcels. If anyone does so, he becomes at once an offender by the name Pashandi. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offenses and equalize the categories. The separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them are like Kala Bhairava, Shmashan Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, Chandika. These demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of the mode of darkness or ignorance. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh, and many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged on by the desire for material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna, of material nature, worship only Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by various names and forms such as Narayana, Damodara, Vamana, Govinda, and Adhokshaja. The qualified Brahmanas worship the Vishnu Tattvas represented by the Shaligram Shila, and some of the higher castes like the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also generally worship the Vishnu Tattvas. Highly qualified Brahmanas situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly, like Kala Bhairava and Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions, yet they reject the worship of horrible and attractive features of the demigods. And they concentrate only on the forms of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from material conditions. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity, Brahma, could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu and none else is called Mukti Pada, or the personality of Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti, liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of the annihilation of the material structure. They are themselves unable to get liberation, and what to speak of giving liberation to their devotees. The demigods can award the worshippers some temporary benefit only, and not the ultimate one. It is for this reason only that the candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. Umukshava ghora rupan hitva bhuta patinatha narayana kala shanta bhajanti hyana suyavaha. Again the translation. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious and respect all, yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all-blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. So just to be reminded that we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, which gives the highest knowledge. It gives the essence of the Vedic knowledge. So it's not a surprise that we are coming across a verse like this, which we probably won't read anywhere else. It's explaining about a comparison of worship of different worshipful entities. It's speaking about mumukshavo, persons desiring liberation. How many are they? Not many. Persons desiring liberation. No, people don't want to liberate. They want to try and enjoy this material world. So a distinction is made, because here, Bhagavatam, we are not speaking about, the target is not that people, those people who want to remain in this world and try and enjoy. We're targeting the people who are desiring liberation, mumukshavo, and Prabhupada translates, those who are serious about liberation. What is their nature? They are non-envious. Anasuyava. This word occurs a lot in Shastras of Bhagavad Dharma. Why did we come to this material world? We are envious. We are envious of Krishna. Now, at the present moment, people are envious. Envy starts with envy of Krishna, and then now we're envious of everyone, neighbor, any other person, enviousness. In the sense that, well, for Krishna is that, why should Krishna be worshipped? Why should Krishna be honored and glorified? I also should be glorified, honored. So envy begins like that. And then in this material world, people are envious of each other. And Prabhupada would remind devotees again and again, not in the society of devotees, and we should not be there. He's always telling us what is the mood when someone else worships better than us, worships Krishna or does service in a better way. The mood is you feel happy, and there's some kind of competition, but not kind of a damaging competition which curtails bhakti, but rather it's different. Prabhupada encouraged competition in a different way. For example, he established, he didn't establish, but he approved of the World Sankirtan newsletter. At that time, it was there, the scores, everyone posts their scores, and he used to write to one temple and say, they've done more than you. What are you going to do? Things like that. So there was competition, but not in the damaging way. So for devotees, anasuyava, this word comes, that those who are desirous of liberation and who are non-envious, meaning non-envious of God. Why don't people worship God? Or why don't they accept God as a person? Because of envy. Envy, just rejection, that no, he cannot. That person may have a wife. Why should God have a wife? But why you have a wife? Why can't God? Of course, it's not his wife, it's his consort. But they, for themselves, okay, but not for God. He should have no eyes, no ears, no mouth, no legs. In other words, Prabhupada said, so is God blind, deaf, lame? No, but you can have. I have everything. He should not have. This is a display of envy. And so they'll not worship God. They'll worship any other personality. Or so many other personalities at once. In the purport, explanation is given now about the proper explanation of the demigods, their category, and the Vishnu category of worship. The Vishnu Tattva category is what Prabhupada explained as the integrated plenary portions. Integrated means they are integral to Krishna's qualities. They are having the same qualities. And plenary means complete, in the sense that it's a complete incarnation. That whatever was in Krishna has come in that also, in that expansion. But we expanded from God, but not Krishna, all Krishna's qualities came in us. So we are separated. And the word comes in Sanskrit as Vibhinangsha and Svangsha. Svangsha also expands again into Kalangsha. So Vibhinangsha means, Vibhin means different. We are Angsha but Vibhin, different. Then you have Svangsha, the part of Krishna but integrated. Sva means his own qualities are also there. Svangsha. And that expansion may again expand into Kalangsha, expansion of an expansion. So, which are the worshipable ones? It should be Vishnu Tattva. Krishna is worshipable and his expansions. But people worship the demigods who are, it's given here now because we have to understand the demigods are not on the category of Vishnu. They are in the category of Vibhinangsha. They are empowered living entities like us, but empowered at a higher level of service to Krishna, but not pure devotees. So they're not, they're limited. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited powers like Vishnu Tattva. Therefore, one should never classify Vishnu Tattvas or plenary portions as the same as the parts and parcels. We cannot compare Vishnu with the demigods. We cannot do that. As we see that in any yajna, Vishnu is glorified and he's worshipped first, even if it's a yajna for demigods. So this is the category, this is the proper understanding. Demigods are Vibhinangsha, they are separated parts, they are not worshipable. They are not on the category of Vishnu. Vishnu is worshipable and his expansions. If someone compares a normal demigod with God, Vishnu, and the other Devatas, then he is to be known as a Parshandi. Parshandi means atheist. It's actually an offense. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offenses and equalize the two categories. So you cannot advance in bhakti. If one compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his partial expansion, that's an offense. And a word occurs here, it comes Ghora Rupan, ghastly forms. It's coming in the verse in Sanskrit, so I'm speaking about it, that some of the forms of the demigods look very scary. Actually, there was one form of Kali with no head she's holding in her hand like this. And other forms where all she'll be with some skulls and blood, with weapons, and in an angry form of face, angry face, Ghora Rupan, they're scary. They're not Shanta, peaceful forms. Actually, the material form is, why is it portrayed as scary? Because material energy, Maya, is meant for punishing and causing suffering. It's meant. This is expansions of Durga Devi. Durga Devi means the maintainer of the Durga, the material world. Material world is a place of suffering, and we are not seeing now, but it can be very scary and very horrendous, ghastly, if we get on the wrong side. You know, if we go through some of the horrible diseases, or in wars, if we're in a war situation, disease, death, it can be very, very ghastly. Yet people worship the energy because they're so enamored by Krishna's energy. They're attracted to it and they want to enjoy it. Being envious of Krishna, they're not worshipping Krishna. But being attracted to this horrible ghastly form, they want to enjoy and worship that. They worship that to get facility to enjoy it more. And they'll get that facility, but at the same time, they'll suffer, they'll be kicked. So here some names are given. Like Kala Bhairava, Shmashan Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, Chandika. These demigods are worshipped mostly by those in the lowest category of the mode of darkness and ignorance. They worshipped at night with certain ingredients, and the major days are on Amavasya days. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, and Ganesh, and many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion. So, urged by the desire for material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, Sattva Guna, worship only Vishnu Tattvas. Vishnu Tattvas are represented by various names such as Narayan, Damodar, Vaman, Govind, Adhokshaja. So worship of Vishnu and his forms are for those who properly understand the purpose of this world and understand the nature of the material world as suffering. So this worship of these personalities elevates and liberates ones. Therefore, those who are mumukshavo, desiring liberation, and anasuyava, non-envious, they'll engage in worship of these forms of Narayan. Narayana Kala Shanta. Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions, Kala, they'll worship them. And that is characterized by, it's transcendental, but it is effect. The worship is effected in the Sattva Gun platform. We see the foods, the nature of the celebration will be music, song, mantras, and very different from a demigod worship. Very often in demigod worship, people offer blood or they put pins in their body. There is some worship where you actually cut a part of your body and offer it. I know one devotee was making a presentation on this, didn't finish, but he was showing me some really horrible things. And then some will worship yakshas and rakshas. So whenever they find, because they reside on trees, at sunset people used to avoid trees, now they don't, because they knew that ghosts reside in them. And if you go under, you get infected by that ghost. So when they find out, they go there and worship, because they are elevated beings. But it's dangerous to worship, to approach them, to worship. It's actually dangerous, because even we worship these forms of material nature, still they punish us and make us suffer. And what to speak of rakshas, yakshas, pishachas, vetala, all these different other forms, ghostly forms. People worship them also. What does Krishna say in Gita? That Devan yajo, no, the other one, Bhutani yanti bhutejya. Those who worship the ghosts, evil spirits, they will go to them. We'll get that form. We'll get a form of a ghost. It's horrible. Highly qualified brahmanas, situated in the mode of goodness, have no grudges against mode of worship of others. So it's not that we're going to go and insult and disrespect. No, this is in the Vedas. People are worshipping demigods. So it's no grudge or disrespect is there. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly like Kala Bhairava or Mahakali. They know very well these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors under different conditions. Yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive forms of demigods. They reject the worship. Even though we don't disrespect, we understand everyone is at a level, then this worship is going on, for them it's okay. But they will not engage in that. A Vaishnava won't worship anyone except Krishna. Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita in many places. He tells Arjuna to only worship. He says with undivided attention, unadulterated bhakti, only to worship. Only ananya bhak, ananya cheta, only to worship the Supreme. So they are kind of, modern word is the extremist. Vaishnavas are only worshipping Krishna. And actually demigods are very happy with that, because they're all devotees of Krishna. They have positions in the discharge of this material universe. They all have a position. They're all under Krishna. They understand. So one who worships Krishna, even the negative effects that happen with these evil entities, they reduce a lot, or they even stop. Simply by worshipping Krishna and calling out his name, then even ghostly forms don't disturb a devotee. And one of the fastest cure for this is simply to take up the practice of Krishna Bhakti, because it's not compatible with the tamogun, where the ghosts operate in. Liberation can only be offered by Krishna. Why? Because only Krishna and his forms are on that platform. And therefore, just the previous verse, it says, previously all great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes. It says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is above the three modes. So sages worshipped him. Why? Because they saw as worshipable somebody who is not part of this material world. They want to come out of this material world. You have to take shelter of one who's out of it. Just like if I'm drowning, I can't go to my friend who's also drowning, save me. No, I'm also drowning. How will I save you? But somebody who's not in the sea, on a boat, can pull you out. Or somebody who is in the sea but not drowning, he can save you. Similarly, the Supreme Lord or his representative, who is also taken shelter of him, not part of this material world, can save you, not the demigods. They, at the end of the material cycle of creation, during the time of pralaya, bhutva bhutva praliyate, they will also be merged into the body of Mahavishnu, just like us, along with all the universal elements. Then the previous verse, it said, they worshipped him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to become free from the material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Ultimate benefit. So just to reiterate this point and make it more clear, then it says in the next verse, why they worship the Supreme Lord, not the demigods. No, because the demigods cannot give liberation. One who is serious about liberation can only take shelter of Vishnu. Examples are given. Hiranyakashipu, he became very powerful. He dominated all the demigods also. He took over all the offices. Ministry of water, wind. He took over all of their functions. They had to hide from him. Yet, at the time of his, when he was threatened with attack by Vishnu, the demigods he took shelter of Brahma, could not help him. So we have to properly understand. People don't have an understanding of who we can take shelter of, who are the different personalities. We have to have a clear understanding. Who are the demigods, who is the Supreme Lord and who is not. But not disrespect, but understand that Krishna Bhakti means it is exclusivist. Exclusivist. They have these luxury resorts which are exclusivist, beaches, and where not everyone can come, only rich people or members, higher class, exclusive. Others cannot. So bhakti is exclusive in the sense that only worship of Krishna and Vishnu and Ram. Even within that category, worshippers of Krishna will only worship Krishna, not even other forms of Krishna. So bhakti by nature is like that. Only worship of Krishna, and that is Shuddha Bhakti. Then the result comes, ultimate result. But in the beginning, people may worship Krishna and other demigods, his servitors, but they'll not get the full benefit of bhakti. Gradually, one has to come to Krishna worship exclusively. Only then, as Krishna says, Aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. By nature, we are all eternal servants of Krishna, and we are not part of this material world. To become free from the material world, we have to go back to our position as a pure servant of Krishna only. Therefore, Vishnu and none else is called Mukti-pada, or the personality of Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti, liberation. Pada is something like shelter, abode. Mukti-pada, the one who we take shelter of, who can liberate us, it's only Vishnu. Vishnum vina mrityum na taranti. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of annihilation. They are themselves unable to get liberation. What to speak of giving liberation? And therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavanti alpamedasam. Those who are not intelligent, who did not understand this philosophy, Antavattu phalam tesham, they aspire after the fruits of worship of demigods. But they are antavat, they are not ananta, they have an end. Antavattu phalam, those fruits have a limit. Tad bhavati alpamedasam, it says those who are less intelligent, they'll aspire after that. And in another verse, Kamastaiste hirta jnana prabandhante anya devata, those whose intelligence is stolen by material desires, they take shelter of demigods. Anya devata. Tam tam nimamasthaya prakrita niyatasvaya. They'll follow the rules and regulations according to their nature, just like what we mentioned. According to their guna, they will take shelter of a certain demigod because they want to worship in that way, in this form. Tam tam niyamamasthaya prakrita niyatasvaya. According to their guna, according to their level, they follow a certain system of worship. So demigods can award worshippers some temporary benefit only, not ultimate one. It's for this reason only that candidates for liberation, mumukshavo, deliberately reject the worship of demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. We have to understand why Vaisnavas exclusively take shelter only of Vishnu and his parts. Why is that? People don't like this, or they think it's disrespectful, offensive. But we have to understand the whole plan. The plan is that whoever we worship, devan deva yajo yanti mad bhaktim yanti mamapi. Those who worship demigods go to them. Those who go to Krishna. And devotees of Krishna want to go to Krishna. So we reject worship of demigods, Devatas. It's not enviousness, it's not disrespect, it's not offensive. It is proper understanding of the functioning of this material world, that whoever you worship, we go to them. We want to go to Krishna, so we worship Krishna only, or his plenary parts. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, the proper explanation is given about Vishnu and his expansions. One of the offenses of the holy name, Shivasya Vishnu Ryaiha Gunanadi Sakala. Memorize. Worshipping, it's an offense to consider Shiva or Brahma's name to be equal to an independent of name of Lord Vishnu. Actually, there are verses. Let's try and recall the verses. Yastu Narayana Deva Brahma Rudrati Devate Samatvaneva Vikshet Sapashandi Bhave Dhruvam. This verse says, Yastu Narayana Devam Brahma Rudradi Devate Samatvaneva Vikshet Sapashandi Bhave Dhruvam. One who considers name of Vishnu to be equal to Brahma, Rudra, Adi. That means Brahma, Shiva, Adi, etc. One who equates the name of Vishnu with the demigods, Samat Vineva Vikshet, Sapashandi Bhave Dhruvam. He is definitely a Pashandi, atheist. Atheist in the sense, Pashandi means a non-follower of Veda. One who doesn't accept Vedic knowledge. Example, Buddhists are known in Vedic culture as Pashandi, and a lot of other people in this world also, because they reject Vedic knowledge. So such people are classified as atheist. Atheist means non-believer in God or his instructions. And Vedas are considered the highest of the topics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Veda Brahmatma Vishayas, Dighanda Vishayame, because it discusses Brahma Vishaya, spiritual knowledge. how to come to Brahm, Supreme Personality, Brahm, spiritual Krishna. So those who equate the names of demigods with Vishnu are atheists. They will not get the benefit. They'll get some benefit. Ultimately, in the process of bhakti, we have to come to the point of full surrender to only Krishna and worship of only Krishna. So that is explained clearly in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and given right in the beginning here to set the scene for the Bhagavad Dharma explanation, what it is. Hare Krishna. Any question? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.